What would you do if you realized you were in love with someone who already has a family? Would you let go or continue to drown in a forbidden love? This is not just a story about love, but a journey of battling one's own conscience, confronting the boundaries of morality, and enduring heart-wrenching emotions. Join us in exploring this deeply emotional and conflicted story, where every decision carries a profound lesson about love and responsibility. Don't forget to subscribe to African Tales Best to never miss out on meaningful and inspiring stories. Are you ready to step into a world of unstoppable emotions? Let's find out now. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled among the lush green hills of Georgia, where endless cotton fields stretched as far as the eye could see, there lived a girl named Zuri. Zuri was famous not only for her gentle beauty, with her silky black hair and deep, soulful eyes, but also for her sweet voice, as melodious as a nightingale's song at dawn. Whenever Zuri sang, the entire village seemed to pause and listen, for her voice carried both sorrow and hope. Yet, few knew that behind her perfect appearance was a lonely heart, longing for true love, someone who could understand and fill the emptiness in her soul. Zuri's life in the village was peaceful, but monotonous. Every day, she worked with her parents in the cotton fields, her skillful hands gathering soft, cloud-like white cotton. In the evenings, she would often go to the riverbank, where the clear water reflected the sunlight, and lose herself in the melodies she composed. Zuri's songs were not just expressions of herself, but also vessels for dreams she had never shared with anyone. One night, as the moonlight shimmered over the river, Zuri sat by the water, humming a sorrowful tune. The sound of the flowing water blended with her singing, creating a mesmerizing natural harmony. Suddenly, an eerie breeze swept through, rustling the trees along the shore. Amid the stillness, Zuri heard a mysterious whisper. "Be careful with your heart, young girl. Love can be a gift, but it can also be a curse." Startled, Zuri turned around, but saw no one. Only the faint moonlight and the rustling of leaves in the wind surrounded her. That warning echoed in her mind, like an ominous sign. Though she didn't understand its true meaning, Zuri couldn't shake off the haunting words. She wondered if the love she had longed for would truly be something beautiful, or if it would bring her unforeseen pain. From that day on, whenever Zuri sang by the river, she felt as though someone was quietly listening, a presence that was invisible yet not frightening. Instead, it brought her a strange sense of peace, as if she was no longer alone. Over time, Zuri grew accustomed to this feeling, even considering it a silent companion who comforted her during her sadness. One morning, while working in the cotton fields, Zuri noticed a stranger entering the village. He was tall, wearing simple clothes that carried the ruggedness of someone who had journeyed far. His eyes were bright, deep, and tinged with sorrow, as if he carried untold stories within. This man was Kwame, a merchant from Maryland who came to the village to trade silk. His arrival immediately drew the attention of many, but his gaze rested only on Zuri. They met while Zuri was harvesting cotton, and for a brief moment, their eyes locked. It was as if they shared an inexplicable connection, as though they had known each other before. Kwame approached her politely, greeting her, and from that moment on, their conversations began. Kwame shared tales of his long journeys, of bustling cities lit up by bright lights and lively crowds. In return, Zuri told him small yet meaningful stories about her simple village life. With each meeting, Zuri felt as if Kwame was a book she could never stop reading. He brought her a sense of novelty, a feeling she had never experienced before. Yet she could not forget the warning by the river. Although her heart began to flutter for Kwame, part of her constantly reminded herself to be cautious, that love could bring happiness, but could also be the root of pain. Don't forget to subscribe to African Tales Best, so you won't miss out on more magical and meaningful stories. One day, while Zuri was bending down to pick soft white cotton in the fields, a strange man appeared in the distance. His figure stood out amidst the vast cotton fields, tall and strong, dressed in simple yet refined clothing. That man was Kwame, a merchant from Maryland who had spent his life traveling far and wide to trade silk and rare spices. Kwame walked closer, offering a warm smile. His chiseled face was tanned from long journeys under the sun. His deep eyes seemed to hold countless untold stories. When their eyes met, time seemed to stop. In that moment, Zuri felt a strange and irresistible surge of emotion in her heart. "Hello, I'm Kwame," he spoke, his deep, warm voice flowing like a gentle melody in the quiet evening air. Zuri shyly bowed her head in response, but the flutter in her heart made it impossible for her to focus on her work. After that encounter, Kwame began appearing in the village more often. He not only brought unique goods from distant lands, but also shared fascinating stories about the places he had visited. The villagers admired him, not just for his open personality, but also for his sincerity and how easily he blended in with everyone. Yet it seemed that among all the people he met, Kwame's eyes always held a special interest for Zuri. They began talking whenever they had the chance. At first, it was just simple small talk. "What are you doing? This field looks beautiful." But gradually their conversations grew deeper. Kwame told Zuri about his long travels, the luxurious cities he had visited, and the bustling markets full of colours and scents. He also spoke of the loneliness on endless roads and his longing to find a place he could truly call home. In return, Zuri shared stories of her simple life in the village, of the quiet dreams she had never revealed to anyone. She spoke of her desire to explore the outside world and her yearning to find a true love, a love where she could give her whole heart without fear or hesitation. Zuri's words touched Kwame's heart, making him feel an unusual sense of connection. She wasn't just a beautiful girl. She had a deep soul with grand dreams that extended far beyond the small village. Each time Zuri met Kwame, her heart felt warmer. He gave her a feeling she had never experienced before, a blend of peace and vitality. Yet she couldn't help but wonder if this feeling was truly right. Was her heart leading her down a path with no clear end? Although Kwame spent much time with Zuri, he always kept a certain distance. He never made promises or spoke sweet words. Instead, his presence and small actions spoke louder than words. Each time he brought her a flower he picked along his travels or listened intently to her stories, Zuri felt the sincerity in his affection. However, amidst those sweet moments, a vague anxiety always lingered in Zuri's heart. She noticed that Kwame sometimes fell into deep thought, and his eyes occasionally flickered with an inexplicable sadness. It seemed he was hiding a secret, something he either didn't want or couldn't share with her. This ambiguity troubled Zuri, yet the intense feelings in her heart wouldn't let her step back. One afternoon, as they sat beneath an ancient tree on the edge of the village, Zuri gently asked, "Kwame, have you ever thought about settling down somewhere?" Kwame was silent for a long moment, before answering in a low, thoughtful voice, "I don't know. Maybe one day, when I find something truly worth staying for." That answer, though vague, made Zuri realize that Kwame carried a hidden burden she could not yet reach. Still, she chose to trust her feelings and the special bond they shared. For even in fleeting moments, Kwame had given her something she had always dreamed of, the feeling of being understood and loved. Although the feelings between Zuri and Kwame grew stronger over time, Kwame always maintained a certain distance. He never made promises or spoke sweet words, yet his eyes and actions made it impossible for Zuri to stop hoping. She could feel his sincerity, but at the same time she was torn by unanswered questions. Why did Kwame always seem conflicted? Was there something he was hiding from her? One day, as Zuri was walking home after a day of harvesting, she overheard someone in the village say that Kwame had a family. He not only had a wife, but also 2 young children waiting for him in Maryland. The news struck Zuri like a knife to her heart. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. All the sweet moments they had shared suddenly turned into painful memories. A flood of betrayal and disappointment overwhelmed her. Zuri couldn't let the doubt continue to torment her. She decided to confront Kwame. That evening, under the pale moonlight by the river where they often met, she looked straight into his eyes full of determination, but also heavy with pain. "Kwame, is there something you want to tell me?" Zuri asked, her voice trembling yet filled with determination. Kwame remained silent for a moment, his eyes weighed down as if carrying the burden of the world. Finally, he sighed, lowered his head, and confessed the truth. "I never meant to hurt you, Zuri," Kwame said, his voice breaking. "I love you, but I have responsibilities to my family. I have a wife and 2 children waiting for me in Maryland." His words hit Zuri like a bolt of lightning. She felt as though her entire world had collapsed. The feelings she once cherished, the happiness she once held dear, now turned bitter. Zuri took a step back, tears welling up in her eyes, but she tried to hold them back. She didn't want to appear weak in front of Kwame, even though her heart felt shattered. "Then why did you come close to me? Why did you let me believe we could have a future together?" Zuri choked, her voice filled with both pain and reproach. Kwame couldn't answer right away. He lowered his head, his hands clenched tightly as if trying to control his swirling emotions. "I never intended for things to go this far. I couldn't resist the feelings I had for you, but I knew it was wrong. I just wanted to be with you, even if only for a moment." Kwame's words stirred both anger and sorrow in Zuri. She couldn't deny that she loved him, but now that love only brought her pain, Zuri knew that if she continued this relationship, she would lose her self-respect and the moral values she had always treasured. After a long silence, Zuri took a deep breath and spoke, her voice calm but firm. "I can't go on like this, Kwame. I love you, but I can't hurt others for the sake of my love. This has to end here." Kwame looked up, his eyes red and glossy. He wanted to say something but fell silent again. He knew Zuri was right. Though he didn't want to lose her, he couldn't selfishly keep her when he couldn't offer her a clear future. Zuri turned and walked away, each step heavier than the last. Tears began to fall as she left the riverside, the place that had once been her happiest sanctuary. But she knew this was the right thing to do. She had to protect her self-respect and uphold the values she always cherished. In the days that followed, Zuri tried to avoid seeing Kwame. She poured all her time and energy into her work, trying to fill the void he had left. Yet no matter how hard she tried, the memories of their time together kept resurfacing. The smiles, the glances, the deep conversations, all felt like fragments of memories that couldn't be erased. Kwame left the village not long after. Before he left a letter for Zuri. In the letter, he wrote that he would always remember her as something beautiful in his life, and that he hoped she would find true happiness. That letter made Zuri cry and smile at the same time. Though their love was incomplete, she knew those feelings were real, and that was something she would always cherish. One night, as the moonlight bathed the small village, Zuri wandered sadly along the riverbank. Her mind was overwhelmed with thoughts of Kwame and the love she knew she could no longer continue. The soft chirping of crickets in the night seemed to blend with her sorrow. She sat by the water, gazing at her reflection shimmering under the moonlight, and quietly wept. In that moment, a faint, mysterious light suddenly appeared in the middle of the river. From within the glow, a mystical woman emerged, her figure half human, half serpent, with long hair cascading like a silver stream, glistening under the moon. Her face was radiant, yet her deep eyes carried an air of solemn authority. Zuri was stunned, her heart pounding, unable to look away from the mesmerizing figure before her. "Zuri," the woman spoke, her voice echoing through the air. "I am Nyame, the goddess who protects love and truth." Zuri couldn't believe her ears. She looked up, eyes brimming with tears, and whispered, "Goddess Nyame, have you come to help me? What should I do with this love?" Nyame stepped closer, the light around her spreading as if to chase away all the darkness. "Zuri, you must choose," she said, her tone both gentle and firm. Your love for Kwame is real, but not everything that is real is right. Sometimes, letting go is the only way to preserve the purity of your heart. Zuri was silent, absorbing the weight of Nyame's words. She felt the gravity of the goddess's message, but understood it was advice she could not ignore. She lowered her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. But how can I let go of this love? My heart aches so much, dear goddess. Nyame placed her soft but cold hand, like moonlight itself, on Zuri's shoulder. Love is a gift, but it is also a trial. You must be strong enough to understand that not every love should be held onto. Listen to your heart, but also consider the truth and what is right. The light surrounding Nyame slowly faded, and she disappeared as mysteriously as she had appeared, leaving Zuri alone under the pale moonlight. The goddess's words echoed in her mind like a sorrowful melody that wouldn't end. Zuri knew the goddess had given her an important message, and now she had to make a decision for herself. The next morning, Zuri woke up with her eyes swollen from crying all night. She realized she could no longer live trapped in this cycle of pain and conflict. She knew that if she stayed in the village, she would never be able to forget Kwame and the memories they shared. Zuri decided to leave the village and start a new life where she could find peace for her soul. She informed her parents of her decision. Though saddened, they understood that this was the best way for their daughter to heal from her pain. On the day Zuri left, the sky was clear and blue, yet her heart felt heavy. The villagers gathered to see her off, their faces filled with regret for losing such a gentle and kind-hearted girl. But Zuri didn't look back. She walked forward, carrying Nyame's words as a guiding light for the journey ahead. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to African Tales Best to never miss out on more magical and meaningful chapters ahead. On the eve of her departure from the village, Zuri decided to meet Kwame one last time. She wanted to close this sorrowful chapter of her life with a proper farewell, a way to release them both from the burdens they had carried for so long. Under the fading light of dusk, they stood by the riverbank, the place that had once witnessed their sweetest moments of love and now would witness its end. The water flowed gently, reflecting the soft golden glow of the setting sun. The air, usually calm, felt heavier that evening, as if it, too, sensed the deep sorrow both of them carried. "I will always remember you, Kwame," Zuri said, her voice trembling and choked with emotion. Tears streamed down her face uncontrollably. Her eyes overflowed with love, but also with unbearable pain. But we don't belong together. This love, as beautiful as it is, cannot go on. Kwame silently gazed at Zuri, his eyes filled with regret. He didn't respond immediately, as if trying to gather all his strength to keep himself from breaking down. His hand trembled as he held hers, clinging to the last bit of warmth between them. "I'm sorry for causing you pain, Zuri," he finally spoke, his deep voice heavy with sorrow. "I hope you find the happiness you truly deserve. You are a remarkable woman, and I will always cherish the memories we shared." Zuri lowered her head, struggling to stifle her sobs. She knew this was the right decision, but it didn't ease the pain in her heart. Letting go of someone you love deeply is never easy. She lifted her eyes to look at Kwame one last time, her gaze filled with both love and heartbreak. "Goodbye, Kwame," she whispered softly, her words as fleeting as the evening breeze. They stood in silence for a long moment, simply looking at each other. Neither of them spoke again, knowing that any words would only deepen the pain. Finally, Zuri turned away, each step heavier than the last. Kwame remained at the riverbank, watching her figure fade into the distance until she was out of sight. A single tear slipped down his cheek. The next morning, Zuri left the village. The sun had just risen, casting a gentle glow over the dirt path leading away from the place she once called home. Her heart was heavy with memories of Kwame, a love that once made her feel whole but also left behind deep scars. But along with those memories Zuri carried the lesson from the goddess Nyame, that sometimes letting go is not a failure, but the only way to preserve the purity of one's heart. The road ahead would not be easy, but she believed she could build a new life. On that long and lonely path, Zuri felt an unexpected sense of relief. The pain was still there, but so was the belief that she had done the right thing. She looked up at the blue sky where clouds drifted lazily. They seemed to remind her that everything is temporary, that every sorrow will eventually pass, and a new day will begin. With each step further from the village, Zuri slowly shed the burdens of the past. In her heart, she silently thanked Kwame, not only for the love he had given her, but also for the lessons he had left behind. Kwame's image remained vivid in her memory, his tender eyes, his warm smile, and his final words to her. "I hope you find the happiness you truly deserve." Now, she understood that his wish wasn't just a farewell, but a profound act of selfless love. Zuri knew that Kwame had suffered too, yet he chose to bear that pain alone, so she could be free. Their love, though brief, would always be a significant part of her life. It wasn't just a story of passionate emotions, but a journey of growth, a testament to the courage it takes to let go and move forward. Years after leaving her homeland, Zuri found peace on a small farm in Texas. Life there brought her a sense of healing. The endless blue sky, the golden wheat fields, and the kind-hearted people who always greeted her with warm smiles. Yet no matter how much time passed, the image of Kwame remained deeply etched in Zuri's heart. He was like a gentle breeze, sometimes appearing in her dreams only to vanish at the break of dawn. One morning, as the soft sunlight crept through the window of her small wooden house, Zuri discovered a letter placed at her doorstep. The old envelope with its delicate handwriting caught her off guard. Her hands trembled as she opened the letter. Every line reignited memories, making her heart race with both anticipation and unease. Dear Zuri, I am Amina, a close friend of Kwame. I write this letter hoping to reveal a truth that has long been hidden from you. Kwame never had a family in Maryland. He was never married, nor did he have children. The story about his wife and 2 children was a facade he was forced to create. He did it not to deceive you, but to protect you from enemies in his business. Kwame once told me that you were the only light in his life. He loved you more than himself, but he knew that love could not be fulfilled due to circumstances. I hope you can understand his sacrifice and continue living happily. Zuri set the letter down, overwhelmed by emotion. Tears streamed down her face, carrying the pain and regret she had long tried to bury. Every word in the letter felt like a dagger piercing deeper into her heart. Kwame had truly loved her, and everything he did was to protect her. Images of Kwame flooded her mind, his warm smile, his gentle eyes filled with love, and his final words before she left. I hope you find the happiness you truly deserve. At the time, she had misunderstood, believing he wanted her to leave because his love had faded. Now she realized those words concealed the pain he bore alone. Zuri folded the letter and placed it into a wooden box where she kept her most treasured memories. She quietly sat by the window, gazing into the vast blue sky. The fields stretched endlessly before her, the breeze carrying the scent of wildflowers, gently reminding her that life was still moving forward. In the days that followed, Zuri felt an unexpected sense of relief. Though they could never be together, she now knew Kwame's love for her had been genuine. That truth brought her a profound comfort. Their love, though incomplete, continued to burn softly in her heart like a small, steady flame. She chose to keep this secret to herself, holding it as a precious treasure. In the years that followed, Zuri lived with gratitude. She realized that love is not only about being with someone, but also about sacrifice and protection. Kwame had taught her that. He was a lasting imprint on her life, a cherished memory she would carry forever. Every time she stood in the golden wheat fields, Zuri thought of Kwame. Though he was no longer by her side, His love felt like the morning sun, gently warming her heart. She smiled softly, feeling at peace, knowing she was living the life he had sacrificed to protect. Zuri's story is not merely a sorrowful love song, but a powerful emotional journey, highlighting the delicate balance between love, morality, and sacrifice. Beneath the silver moonlight of Georgia, where green hills quietly cradle the night, the whispers of the goddess Nyame still echoed. They reminded her not only of an unfulfilled love, but also of the profound message about the value of choice and the courage to let go. Zuri, a young woman burdened by a heavy heart, had faced a decision no one wished to make, to let go of the one she loved in order to uphold greater values. By the river that night, under the gentle glow of the moon, she chose the path of pain, but also the path of righteousness. She understood that love isn't always a perfect fairy tale. Sometimes, the greatest love is letting go, for the happiness of the one you love or to protect them from harm. The moonlit waters seemed to still whisper their story. Zuri's eyes, once sparkling with joy beside Kwame, were now filled with quiet sorrow. But she had no regrets. What had passed was not only a beautiful memory, but also a lesson that allowed her to grow, to understand that sometimes love demands the strength to overcome one's own pain. Kwame, with his deep eyes and warm voice, had always been a light in Zuri's life. But that light, though radiant, could not guide them to a happy ending. The lesson from the goddess had taught Zuri that true love isn't just about holding on, but knowing when to let go. Under Georgia's moonlight, the story of Zuri and Kwame teaches us that sometimes the most precious things aren't the outcomes but the journey itself. Their love was not a failure. It was a testament to selfless sacrifice and the strength to rise above personal emotions in pursuit of what is right. When life presents us with difficult choices, do we have the courage to let go? Can we cherish beautiful moments without allowing pain to cloud our vision of the future? The green hills of Georgia remain silent witnesses to Zuri and Kwame's story. But is this truly the end? The moon still illuminates winding paths, as if inviting us to keep moving forward. Perhaps one day, fate will bring them back together. Or maybe their love will forever remain a beautiful memory, deeply etched in Zuri's heart. Zuri left in search of peace, but her journey was far from over. The words of the goddess Nyame continued to guide her, reminding her that true strength lies in loving herself and finding happiness in the small things around her. Did Zuri's story move you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about her decision? If you were Zuri, could you let go of the love of your life to do what's right? Don't forget to subscribe to the African Tales Best channel to continue following touching and meaningful stories like this. Every story carries a valuable lesson, a spark of inspiration that helps you discover new perspectives on love, life, and yourself. Will Zuri truly find happiness on her new journey, or will fate lead her back to Kwame? Don't miss the next chapter, where the light of hope will continue to illuminate Zuri's path.